It's a discipline where the devil is truly in the details. Ever since man began engaging in the act of buying and selling, a system to keep track of the money exchange became vital. Accounting is as much an art as it is a practice, and in the early 1900s, a pair of accountants would help revolutionize the business. Although Arthur Young and Alwyn Ernst ran separate accounting operations at the turn of the century, both men had a shared philosophy. They saw how accounting could inform and enhance an organization's business decisions. They also believed in the concept of employee development. Though the two never officially met, they put their philosophies into action, creating entirely new ways accounting could be used and expanding the business into new territories. The accounting firm of Ernst & Young wouldn't come into being until 1989. A recent rebranding effort replaced the names Ernst & Young with the initials EY and added the tagline, "Building a Better Working World," a nod of sorts to the company's innovative founders. EY ranks as one of the biggest accounting firms in the world with a staff of more than 200,000. In 2015, the company reported more than $28 billion in annual revenue. Overseeing about 1,800 of those employees is Glenn Mitchell. He's the managing partner for the Atlanta office of EY and a practitioner of a people-first approach, as you'll see in today's Executive Profiles.
I had a normal childhood, grew up, product of the public schools out in Douglas County. Decided to head off to Auburn University, had 4 glorious years there.
Back to growing up, what was your first job?
First job was actually, landscape, working out on a farm. It's a little bit, used to be rural out there.
So what point did accounting seem to be the path you wanted to go in? Was that a freshman year thing or further or deeper into your?
Deeper in. I'll tell you, going back a little bit, I'm a huge Falcons fan. I'm a huge Braves fan. At some point I realized the Falcons probably weren't going to give me a shot. So I determined I should buckle down to my studies, and I applied myself to a career in public accounting. I learned from friends and colleagues. The Ernst & Young recruited heavily at Auburn, so I sort of learned that as a younger student. And decided that looked like an interesting way to go, and I wanted to apply myself. And if I were good enough, that I'd be interested in pursuing a career in that regard.
That's great. So you started off in Atlanta.
I did.
And spent your first, how many years here?
First 19 years
19
here in Atlanta.
Years. In those 19 years, you probably saw this organization grow by leaps and bounds.
Dramatically. We're up to 3,000 people here in the city today.
Right.
When I started with the firm in the early 90s, I'll get the numbers not exactly right, but it was about 500 folks.
Whoa.
Our audit practice today is almost that large, so significant growth to your point. And I'll tell you, David, it was an exciting time, and you probably remember this, to be a young professional in Atlanta in the early 1990s. The excitement around the recent win of the Olympics and the build up to 1996, it was a really special time here, much like today.
Right. So you spent those first 19 years here, and then you got the call to move to Memphis, Tennessee.
4 years ago, I was honored to get the call and the request to pick up my family who had never lived anywhere else besides Atlanta and move 400 miles away, become the managing partner there, learn what it means to go into a community where you don't have any connections. I learned about not only the business climate in a new geography for me, but also learned about a community that has some really great assets, but also has a lot of challenges in getting involved and doing my part and trying to advance the firm's mission there.
So you did that for 4 years?
3 years.
3 years. So 3 years. Was the goal always to come back to Atlanta, or were you just looking to see where things were going to turn?
Yeah, I mean, selfishly, of course, the goal was to come back to Atlanta. This is my home. This is where I grew up. This is where all my family is.
Right.
But I knew I probably wouldn't spend the rest of my career in Memphis. All 3 of my kids were at an inflection point in school, starting high school, starting middle school, et cetera. So it was a perfect time. But the call to come back into this role as the managing partner was just a dream job, and one I'm so excited about.
What were the things that got you through those first 100 days in terms of figuring out who you were going to be in Atlanta and where you were going to go with it?
Really communicating. I mean, I think it's the name of the game for everything. learning from my partners and my colleagues and my mentors, getting great advice, being very open to great advice. Also getting out in the community and talking to people. What's going on here? I've been gone for 3 years. This is a dynamic community. Things change dramatically in short periods of time here. So, but I really tried to soak up everything I could and learn and be a sponge and get great advice. Take everybody's advice and ask for it, seek it out. And I've found that to be very, very beneficial.
You've established yourselves as a very important player in this community. How do you view EY as being different from everybody else? And how do you view yourself managing to be different in the future?
Our philosophy is about hiring the best talent off of the best campuses and then giving them a great experience. We also recognize, David, that people need a sense of purpose. And we're really proud of our mission, who we are, what we are. It's all focused on our philosophy of building a better working world. Community is important to us as well. As you know, you and I have talked many times before. This community has been very, very good to us. It's our responsibility, our privilege, and our right to make sure we're giving back and being very good back to the community.
Tell me about what was planned when EY decided to build out your current space. It is really a spectacular place and the kind of thing that makes people want to work at your space.
Sure. We realize that the physical space has evolved and it needed to evolve. So the Workplace of the Future is all about creating a very collaborative space, a place that our high-performing teams can team together, and they have options around what they're focused on that day. They can be out in an open environment, working very close together. We also give folks the option to go into a place with a door, to close the door, make private calls, deal with sensitive issues. But the focus is really around a people and a talent strategy, a real estate strategy, and also a growth strategy.
I've heard there's some good news that just hit the wires. You want to share it with us?
Yeah, really, really excited to report that we were named on Fortune's Best Companies to Work For list, 18th year in a row.
Whoa.
We're excited about it. We're proud of it. We work hard to have that type of recognition.
So when you run into young people who are considering a career in accounting, tell me a little bit about what kind of advice you give them about what it takes for them to be successful.
I'll tell you the basic things that would be true, I think, of any young professional. Be prepared to work hard, take great care of people, surround yourself by great people above you, below you, beside you. Be open to coaching and feedback, and a lot of people are going to offer to help you when you're a young person. Take that help. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy about taking folks' advice and using their help. But really the key thing, and the thing that I learned early on at EY, was the value of coaching and mentoring and investing in people. That's something that we hold dear as a philosophy.
The same fervor Glenn Mitchell puts into company work, he also puts into the community. Mitchell serves on the board of the United Way of Greater Atlanta, the Board of Governors of the Georgia Chamber of Commerce, and the campaign committee for the Woodruff Arts Center. Ahead, movie stars and famous musicians may reside in Metro Atlanta, but so do a few of the ultra-rich. And everything in life has a cost, including death. Patrick Crosby examines the end-of-life economics when Atlanta Business Chronicle's BIZ returns.